All right. Hello, 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 hello.
What's up, everybody? We're back.
Hi.
We apologize.
Do we?
We apologize for the delay.
Yes.
We are coming live from Atlanta, and we are
Mighty
just
God.
getting out of a conference
Mhm.
that we are part of. It was great.
Phenomenal.
And we were trying to get our lives together to show up
Literally.
live and get everything all set up so y'all can see us all in one screen. So we are so happy to have y'all here with us.
We decided since we're together, we will be together. So let us know you can hear us. Give us a thumbs up. Oh, I forgot to add our comments on the screen. So hopefully that will do the trick. Full screen mode. New private chat will appear in the corner. All right, perfect. So we should be able to see our comments and respond. And Coach Scho's going to handle all the comments.
Yes, I'm going to check in on LinkedIn and on YouTube, even though should I also get on your YouTube? You're live on YouTube too?
I mean, yes, I am, but
yeah.
Am I? No. Am I? Probably not. Let's see if I can log in. Okay, well, let's do some quick introductions and then we can go from there.
Perfect. I am Sarah Scho. I am the CEO and founder of Scho Behavior Academy, where I am able to provide professional development and coaching for behavior systems and those behavior fundamentals for staff, eventually caregivers.
I'm Sherann Hawkins. I am the principal school counselor, licensed independent clinical social worker, former principal, former school counselor, turned mompreneur, and founder and doctoral student. And my niece told me, I call her my content manager. She told me that's a way too long of an introduction. So hi, how are you? And I support student support systems through infrastructure to protect student brilliance and make sure that our young people, our students, are future ready right now.
I love it.
Probably need a shortened one.
And then I know it's only our second time, but we decided we're in Atlanta. We might as well bring in a guest, which we want to do more often. So y'all will have to let us know how y'all feel about it, because we got plenty of people we can bring up in here. So this is our wonderful guest.
Hey y'all, my name is Sherann. I am the founder and CEO of Tangerine Behavioral Consulting. I am a board certified behavior analyst, and I have decided that my primary focus will be the early childhood space. So infant, toddler, preschool, K through 3, right? 3rd grade is kind of the area that I'm really going to focus on around positive behavior support and social emotional development for sure, using PBIS, but primarily the pyramid model. So I'm just excited to be able to be here with you all. Yes. I also do a lot of other things too. So we can talk about social skills, we could talk about pyramid model, PBIS, whatever. So I'm just excited for this conversation.
This is great. Thank you all for joining us. Maybe one of the places we can start. So last year, wow. It kind of feels like last year. Last time Sherann and I met, we talked a little bit about some of the biggest behavior concerns that we saw within schools in our role. So maybe that's a perfect starting point for us for our conversation today, to kind of see where it leads us as we move forward.
Absolutely.
So I'll let you start it off.
I guess when I can speak from both ends. I'm a parent of a young, very phenomenal Black boy, almost man this year. He turns 18. But when he was in kindergarten, the preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade, that's when I had my most challenges as far as having to advocate for him when it came to behavioral challenges. He has ADHD, he's gifted, he's phenomenal, but he had some hard times like navigating all this energy he had, and he was super smart. What I found that I honestly don't know what the behavior of concern was, just more of just high energy and just a lack of understanding and willingness to support and find ways to help him to be successful in the school setting. So I found as a parent, I was just having conversations around, he's not hitting anybody, he's not hurting anybody. So what really is the concern? And was kind of like, you just don't like my child. He's just, too much. He's not just going to sit there and get, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what my passion is really. And I saw it even as an educator and working in the school system of like just understanding behavior as communication. And of course, yes, there are behaviors that are dangerous, unsafe, and we do want to ensure that we are protecting the staff and the students, but we really have to be intentional about trying to find the why behind the behaviors and how can we set up the environment for them to be successful other than calling the parents, emailing parents, texting the parents. I'm like, there's only so much parents can do. Behaviors happening in this setting. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I see the behaviors, but I also see not behaviors, but just they're being irritated and annoyed by students who just won't keep still or, whatever the case may be. So I'll pause there.
All of that. And I think it goes down to, we talked about that a little bit last time too, of building that rapport, like what relationship, like even as a behavior specialist as well, and knowing that you could be the best teacher, you could be the best behavior specialist, you could be able to, read it all off, do everything, but it won't matter if you don't have that rapport. And I think that goes both ways. Like for me as an adult, how am I building that rapport and that relationship? But then also with the kiddos that I have, how am I helping to build the social skills or the coping strategies or the social emotional skills that they need to then also in the future, and I mean that's any kiddo, then in the future also be able to have a reciprocal relationship with me that is, age appropriate and developmentally appropriate.
And so my lens is a little bit different, which is why I really enjoy these conversations. And so when we're thinking about the work that's happening in learning communities, schools in particular, you think about it from am I all over the place? You think about it from the policy side, and you think about it from the student achievement side. And behavior informs all of that. So as a former school leader, when you see troubling behaviors like the ones you described, some people are like, get this kid out of here. When I say some people, it is what it is. We've got teachers, we've got administrators, you've got deans, school counselors sometimes don't know what to do. And so what I'm getting at, short version, is collaboration is needed. And so when you have student support professionals in your space, it's really important to engage them in conversation. Students are humans. They are learning behavior. It's learned, right? And so whether it's happening only in schools and not at home, that's a conversation we need to have. Why is this a learned behavior? What is triggering in this community, in this environment? Or what is the identity of this particular community that isn't working for this particular student? And what do we need to do accordingly to adjust so the student is safe, does belong, and feels welcome here, right? And now is every learning community for every student? No, I get that. But at the same time, we do need to do everything that we can, my personal belief, as a former school leader, that absolutely the student needs every opportunity to thrive here. So what are we not doing or what are we overlooking that can better support this young person? And that does not rest with any one person. So I know when people hear that, like, oh, you're going to ask us to do more. No, but I am going to ask us to be reflective. I am going to ask us to take a peek behind the curtain and really figure out what may be going down with this little, particularly because when we think about child development, adolescent development, their brains are still forming. That behavior most likely was unintentional, and there was something else triggering it. And if we can give an F on a paper, you can give an F on a behavior, and then you're going to work to teach that student how to not get an F the next time that behavior or that test comes back up.
Can I say I
Exactly.
appreciate hearing that from a former school leader, because it really does start at the top, and not just the school, but district leadership as well. So just to hear that from a principal, and I feel like I struggled sometimes of really trying to convince the leadership in the school to provide the support and resources necessary for this teacher to feel like they have the capacity and the time and the resources to really support the child in the way that they can be supported if the teacher had the capacity, the time, and the resources. So how can we just ensure that everyone is getting what they need in order to really, one, support that student, but also that teacher as well needs the support, you know? So I just thank you for your perspective, and it sounds like you were, you know, holding your staff accountable, and that's lacking in a lot of areas too, because like, you can have the best behavior plan. You can have a behavior specialist come in and observe and all the things. But if there's no backing from leadership, the teacher could want to do all the things, but they just don't have the time or the resources or the backing of leadership to make it happen. So thank you. I appreciate you for sure.
And I love how you said that, because sometimes it is such a systemic issue, because you could have a principal who understands it and wants it, but if you're also fighting with the system, so district policy, national policy of national policy of like what are the cadences of things that we are putting energy into, and unfortunately there isn't a pacing guide for SEL. There isn't a pacing guide for coping strategies. There isn't a pacing guide. Is every kid at this stage social emotionally? But there isn't that. There isn't SEL for the adults. Right? Like, do teachers actually get breaks? Do teachers, you know, not like I'm doing my planning and eating and making copies and trying to do a million things, but like, how are we valuing, right, the adults in the situation as well? But the systems is what I see, because that's
where it starts.
When I've seen it, like, I can write the most beautiful behavior plan, but it won't matter if I don't have that buy-in, because I'm not going to be the person implementing that every day. So there has to be a level of understanding, but also a level of like, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. The behavior plans that I write are not for the kids. They are for the adults. Like, the behavior plans that I write, most other people in this field that in our schools are for the adults, not the kids. If I am writing a behavior plan for Sherann because she doesn't know like X behavior or there's something happening, my plan isn't Sherann needs to do this, Sherann needs to do that. This is how Sherann is going to help herself. Sherann ain't doing that. That's why y'all called me in to write an FBA and a behavior plan, right? So the plan is, how are we as adults going to change the environment, change our behaviors, change our responses, change our reactions, change how we do things, change how we teach skills in order to be able to build up the skills we want to see and decrease those maladaptive behaviors we don't want to see. So I think that's a disconnect sometimes too, because you'll have a plan and I'll check in and they're like, well, kiddo wasn't following their behavior plan. Like, what you mean kiddo wasn't following their behavior plan? Like, that wasn't for the kiddo to follow. Like, did you follow it? What are you doing? But also understanding the teachers are tasked with so many other things throughout the day. So it does feel like an extra chore. So I think that's too where I balance between, this is the plan I really want to write. Like, if we were in a true ABA setting, this is the plan I would want to put in place, but balancing that with, okay, what is realistically, what makes sense? What do you understand? What are you able to implement that doesn't feel like I have a whole nother job on this list of things that I'm barely getting through the day?
So I want to talk a little bit about two things that are particularly in my lane. And so I want to like bust these doors wide open, invite two extremely talented BCBAs into this conversation, right? Okay, so one of my main tenets of my work is to protect student brilliance, all students. And the second tenet of my work is systems and infrastructure. So when you are having these conversations with teachers, how do you, one, manage up? Because you're talking to the teachers, they're frustrated because they're like, what do you want me to do here? And then they need to kick it up to the school leader to say, hey, this is happening. I do or do not know what to do. So we have a gap in systems. So not even just the policy coming down, now we have a systems gap in the way who's doing what. And I have to shout out all of my school counselors right now, because if I hear one more counselor, who's supposed to write the FBAs? Who's supposed to write the BIPs? And a lot of counselors end up being tasked with those responsibilities. I, for one, was tasked with that responsibility when I was a school counselor.
With FBAs too.
FBAs and BIPs. I had to do the observations. I had to do the observations and I had to write the plans.
Wow.
So depending on the school size, the school design, which is a systems issue,
Yes.
how do we design an infrastructure that works for the student?
Yeah.
Because should I have been doing it? I can, but it's not my specialty.
Yeah.
My specialty would be the execution. It would be making sure that these things are in place and coaching and supporting the teachers to make sure that they are able, in fact, to support the students in the classroom.
Absolutely.
So I just want to put that out there. So the question essentially is about how do we protect all students' brilliance in these spaces? And then the second part to that question is how do you manage up? How do you have these conversations with leaders and district folks and say you need to be paying attention to this?
Well, when I worked in the last district that I was in, I was the district behavior support interventionist.
It ain't that fancy.
So when you think about your
When
question,
you
I'm not talking to the
it.
teacher first. I'm actually the one trying to change the system and policies. So I'm here as a coordinator, right? Thinking about what's already in place, because there's stuff already in place. But really, my first year was just trying to understand what are the policies, procedures around behavior support. I worked for the student support department, but we had a special education department and we had teaching and learning, which was the MTSS process lived there. So there's two different departments, one me, and I don't work in those departments, so their policies and procedures are based on what they're discussing in their meetings, but I'm the one that is having to support behavior in this system. So I spent a lot of time building rapport with my district colleagues, right? Coming into these spaces, asking to be invited to these meetings so I can understand better what's already in place, and then put my little in there, right? Like, okay, well, I see that you all have this already. Have you considered, or what do you think about? So I try to use motivational interviewing in my approach when talking about adult behavior change, because they have to want to change, see a need for change. So it was a lot of open-ended questions. And when I tell you, like, I'm in rooms with assistant superintendents, executive directors of these departments. And I'm like, I'm just wondering, because I'm new. I'm just wondering, what is, the process for this? And everybody's like, looking at each other. I'm like, right? So to your point, that was very much my passion as far as like, y'all, we need to get the procedures together, or you have this whole document that outlines this. Why aren't we holding people accountable to this? So my job in the time that I was there, I shored up the referral system, made sure that I connected with these different departments and say, before they get to me, where's the MTSS process in here? Tier 1 referrals, right? So I was looking at the referral data and like making decisions around, well, if you have 3 referrals of the same behavior, so what is the target behavior? So I would say the first year, and just, everybody knew after the first year that the first question Sherann is going to ask, what's the behavior of concern? And it's not the student.
Compliance is not non-compliance.
Right. Or even the student needs to learn how to
students off the hook
interact with adults appropriately. I'm like, that's not a target behavior.
No.
Right?
That's social skills.
Right? That sounds like a goal.
Skills,
right? That sounds like a goal.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the student doing? So it was just going back to the basics and trying to just educate people around behavior basics, operationally defining the behavior specifically. What does it look like? What does it sound like? Not describing the student's personality. We're not doing this. There was one meeting, second grader, first grader maybe, a counselor said that she was showing signs of narcissism or something like that, and I'm like, we're talking about a second grade grader.
So tell me, when I walk into that classroom, what does narcissism look like? Can you explain, like, how do I measure that behavior?
Yeah. So I know I didn't really answer your question, but
you did. No, you absolutely did. So what I heard you say, just really quickly, that I want to kick it to Scho. So the first thing I heard you say is, one, there's multiple levels that BCBAs actually hold within the district. And one of them is in schools. So you can be contracted one school, multiple schools. Okay. And then the second I heard, there are district level positions that allow you to supervise across district and spaces, which give you a leg in the door to be at the table and have the conversations with the leaders. So that is how you're managing up. So I absolutely did hear that. And I also heard you say protect student brilliance is when you're asking people to name the thing, name the behavior, not the student, not what the student did, name the exact behavior. And that particular language is so very important.
Makes a difference
when you're trying to make those changes. And so you absolutely did, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I think to bring it together, I think too how you protect student brilliance is with those systems. So I think the trust and the rapport, like Sherann said, is key. Like that was my job when I a little bit of everywhere. BCBAs are used differently regardless of where you go. I've been in districts where there was a BCBA in each building. Which is great, but then it was more like I was the firefighter. Any behavior that happens, so-and-so's not listening. Why are you calling me, right? Like, that's not a BCBA problem. That's like, I need you to call your instructional coach if he's not listening and just running around the room. That's not me. Then I've had some friends who were over the whole district and doing everything, which is then also hard because it's like, you gotta train in CPI, TC, whatever you got, you gotta do all the behavior training. You're charged with doing all the FBAs, like everything. So it's like you can't do anything great
attend IEPs and when lawyers and advocates are involved.
When am I supposed to do the actual systems structure stuff that I was hired for? And then the one school I was at, my manager was very intentional about your only role is to write FBAs and BIPs. Now, granted, they were way behind. So that took a while, but at least I didn't have to do train everybody in behavior support. And anytime a building called me, I still would go for observations and when things happen, but it wasn't an in the moment firefighter calls for the buildings. So I think that is an issue. I think every school uses BCBAs differently, or there's just a consultant that comes in, you see them for 2 hours, they write this plan, they drop it off, do this, they come back in 6 months, how is it? Why didn't you do this? And it kind of feels like, yo, you ain't been with me shooting in the gym. I'm not listening to anything you gotta say because I haven't built that trust and that rapport. So I think that's an issue, is that how people see BCBAs and behavior specialists in schools is different depending on how we're utilized. So that's hard. But then I think it comes down to the systems for me for student brilliance. If people don't know their roles, we don't know who's going to where. We don't, I've seen that too with behavior systems. We have this beautiful academic MTSS process, but there is no behavior process. So I'm not surprised that a lot of districts then get into we have a problem, we're straight to evaluating because there's never been a process. So that's how staff have been reinforced. X happens, and it's where's the data? What interventions have you trialed? What behavior are we looking at? And then too, sometimes it's this kid is in first grade or third grade or whatever grade the COVID kids are in now, and haven't been in school consistently. So part of it is yes, but is it a skill? If there's a skill gap, a huge skill gap, a lot of the behaviors I have seen in a lot of them in schools have been because of a skill gap. So what are we doing with, they have to work in tandem and just, so the systems have to be there. And I feel that's what it comes down to.
That light right behind you.
Tap the light behind me?
Oh, it's not that bright. Okay, I thought it was going to give a little, so there wasn't the shade.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
I thought I'd give a little more light in the corner.
problem.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So I have a systems question then.
Yeah.
So I know if I was a teacher watching this live right now, I'd be like, I don't know whose job you think this is. I got to teach. I got to this. I got to that. You right.
Mhm.
You right.
Yeah,
You're right.
you absolutely do.
And so this is where we begin to have the systems conversation, a conversation about infrastructure. And
Because it's
so
not the teacher's
it's not their responsibility.
job. Yeah.
So when do we have the difficult conversation or courageous, however you want to look at it, about the way schools are designed right now?
Schools are designed,
And
to do this work. Let's keep it in context.
but that's the hard part, because I think there are conversations being had, but I also think like it's a trickle down effect, right? And I think unfortunately in this context too, that trickle down does come from a national level.
Yeah.
And that's not like on a politics issue, but just there's just so many things with public school and funding and just systems or like standards, right? I'm not like, I've never been a teacher and a true educator, so if I say some things that aren't right, excuse me, but like standards and pacing guides that come from a national level that then the state adopts, what they need to adopt, or then you then have public school versus what are private schools doing, or what are charter schools doing, then there is so much variability that it's like, I think the question is more, as a principal, did you feel like you truly had the power to change the systems? Because I feel like we all know kids need more SEL, so why don't we just do it?
Okay.
Let's just do it.
All right, so hear me out. Okay.
Yes.
I was an alternative school principal in a very small community. So the short answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now here's a systems issue.
Yeah.
I had a small community with a very specific staff and a finite number of students. So what was it about my system that allowed me to make those changes, adjust structure, and name the policy that was or was not working, and better support the students that were in front of me? And I mean 100%. Were they all successful? Of course not. But yes, I had the complete flexibility to do that. So that might be part of the answer.
Right. Do public schools have
enough
that flexibility?
That's a great question, right? So
That
that's something
is
to
a
think
great
about.
question. That is. That's a really good point. I think about, I had a similar conversation where we do need to name like which school type are we talking about? Is it traditional public school? I can assume that that's the space that we're talking about. But thinking about behavior support systems, policies in private schools, charter schools, those areas where they can just really kick school students out, and there
or where
is
they
no
don't have
protection.
systems because they don't have to.
They don't have to. They choose not to, right? Like, so even thinking about, and I know, I think we all know what system we're talking about here, but keeping that in mind as well, and as far as like which systems do have it right, and what does that look like? And I do think that's a really great question. Like, as a principal, did you feel like you had the autonomy to like, that's the policy, but like I did, put my little in it to make sure that it works for my school. And I don't know if there's a lot of leaders that feel that they have that autonomy or that confidence. So that's why I think it's important in the space that we are, that we do have folks who's building businesses around building the confidence and capability of leadership as well, because that's where it kind of fell apart, where I was coming in support, again, doing all the things as far as writing a plan that fit that setting, right? But that teacher, some, not all, and I want to make sure I'm not generalizing to all teachers, but there's literally some teachers that just don't want to do the things, right? So then it's just like when it gets to that point, because I'm doing everything
and don't want to, whether it's a can't do or won't do.
Come on,
it's a
like
won't.
it can be both.
Come on,
when it's a won't.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when it's a
do.
won't, not a can't. Because if it's a can't, that's what I'm saying. I am building your skills by I will come out to your classroom. I will send direct reports, right? My people will come and check in and model and support. I am taking away all of those barriers for you, but you still are choosing not to.
Yep.
So that's above me. And that's what I kept saying.
Yeah.
The school leader, well, I wasn't talking to the school leaders and I was. Let me just preface this by saying I'm district level. So I'm talking to my district folks and saying, this is what I've done. This is what I'm doing. This was, we did this for 3 weeks. They continue to pretty much choose not to.
Yeah.
Well, have you talked to the principal, whatever the case may be? So then, yes, I have talked to the principal, explained it, whatever. But again, that lack of confidence and not feeling like they can hold those folks accountable was where it was like a hard
and that's also
stop.
that's outside of our
That's what I said.
scope of competence at that
Yes.
point in time. Like, I can coach the principal or the leader about behavior support, but I'm not an instructional
teach you
coach.
how to,
How
hold
to
your
build that
people
rapport,
accountable.
and that accountable. That's not mine.
Here I am.
Yeah, that's not
But
me.
that's the district level. Like there was a principal boss, right? So then I'm also talking, hey, this can really work for this student.
Yeah.
We can really make a change in this child's life
Yeah.
and have them operate in their brilliance. And this teacher is choosing not to do the things. And I've done everything that I could. I even had a meeting with that principal. I can't think of the title, but principal's boss with said principal. But they like this. So that's the other thing.
Even
That's
better.
like who you know.
It's the clicks.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because there's lack of accountability there.
But then you have that is when we move from courageous to difficult.
Mm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, now this is when we have to say the thing.
But I'm coordinator, so that's where I'm like, hey boss,
Oh.
this is what's happening. This is where I
Yeah.
then move it up to. So
Yeah.
your question, I will do all the things within my scope, but now this is above
Yeah.
me, and I need a
This team
director,
dynamic
executive
stuff,
director,
yeah.
associate superintendent. I need y'all to come in, and sometimes they wouldn't have the difficult, courageous conversation.
So I will tell you what my coach told me, my leadership coach told me.
Yeah.
She told me one time, I need you to do the thing first. And then we can talk about how it made you feel and what you thought, but I need you to do the thing first. Now, granted, you cannot have that conversation with somebody you do not trust.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
if you can look at the school leader that you have a relationship with, even if they're like this with the teacher, I need you to ask for
The
them.
principal.
The principal, yeah. I need you to do the thing first.
Yeah.
If we're talking about protecting all student programs and making
Yeah.
sure that your data, this
Yes.
student's learning and the goals are met,
Yeah.
we all have a responsibility here. Sometimes we got to shake the system.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. We all have relationships, friendships, we have to do it. But if we are founded on trust, if their relationship truthfully is founded on trust,
Yeah.
we should be able to then say,
Yeah.
it's not working. I can call you if I
Yeah.
trust you into my office and say, this really isn't working.
Yeah.
And I get you're pushing back, but can we unpack why?
Yeah.
So we can get to the other side of this. Because at the end of the day, it is absolutely your job to
Yeah.
serve the student.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I
that's
hear
how
you.
culture, I think, happens too.
Yeah.
Of like, then you have which, not in a negative way, but then you
Yeah.
have some people that are pushing back, and then nothing happens because there's no accountability, or the
Yeah.
principal's like, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, the next time Sherann comes in here and I want to do it, I'm just not going to do it. What's
Right.
going to happen?
Right. And
Nobody's
that's-
going to do
I
anything
mean,
to
I
me,
feel like
but then
I've-
you keep calling me
Yeah.
because
For
you
the
need
same
more behavior
student, and
support,
I'm
and I'm like,
have you done the things that you
right,
said?
I can't go to the next step if we can't
Yeah.
show that you
Yeah.
have tried
Yeah.
at your best, not at all, but you have implemented this with
Yeah.
fidelity for a certain amount of time
Yeah.
to say it didn't work. And sometimes that is that case. So I think that's part of, I think I would get pushback on sometimes, is like, you just don't want any kids to be on FBAs and BIPs. Like, yes and no, but if we're really looking at that tier and the top 1% of kids are supposed to be in that tier 3, you can't tell me that every single one of your kindergarten and first grade classrooms has 6 kiddos that needs to be on an IEP, on an IEP, a FBA, and or a BIP.
Mhm.
Like, it's just
It's giving tier 1 drama.
correct. So
Giving
part
you
of
tier
that
1
is
ain't
like,
working.
That part.
there are definitely kids or just really high, more severe maladaptive behaviors that really pose a danger and a safety risk. Now, I'm not talking about a kiddo throwing a pencil, but like a safety risk where there is some where I'm like, oh yes, absolutely. Like, there is some cases where we go through the process or go through the process a little bit faster, but at the end of the day, that's like, we're not just going to put a kid on an IEP because they weren't able to read 3 words, right? Or because they couldn't do multiplication, right? So it's like certain things of like that mindset has to be the same for behavior support as well. And if your whole class can't read, does not an instructional coach that needs to come in and teach your kids individually plans, like that's a systems issue. We have a larger issue if every single kid in your class can't perform the skill that you're asking them to.
Giving student support. It's giving student support across the board. You need to come in, you need to, where are your desks? How are the kids organized? What are your welcome procedures when students come into the classroom? What are your exit procedures? What systems, literal systems, classroom-based systems. I'm not talking about the whole system now. I'm talking about literally what's going on in your classroom. How did you plan for the day? Did you know who's been in the school, who has been absent, who comes into class tardy every day? And then how did you adjust the learning plan for that student so you're not taking off your game when a kid walks in every day at the same time in 10 minutes? That's data. That's a behavior. That's what I need to know. Because then I can figure out as a school leader, what are they doing for that missing 10 minutes every day that doesn't get them into the classroom on time? And then they don't also disrupt you, because it's 2 things. They're doing something that they're prioritizing. So is it on a scale of Maslow problem? Is it an executive function problem? Or is it just specifically they need to go to the nurse in the bathroom every time this time of day? That's been the case. Teacher couldn't find the kid every day. They just had a bowel system that was like, look, I'm gonna go hide out in the staff bathroom. That's what they did, because kids don't use the bathroom in the building. But they would go find a staff bathroom and go hide out, and then they would be literally a couple times a week they'd be late to this class. Teacher's like, what is going on? And when we finally figured it out, we just addressed the system with the student and just said, drop your stuff off first and get the pass. And that way you know what's happening. You've seen the board, you've seen the do now, whatever the welcome procedure is. So in your brain, you can now exit the classroom. When you walk back in, you're ready to do what you need to do. But it's that type of care. It's honestly, it was care enough to be like, we weren't yelling, we said it in the report. What are you doing? And finally the security was like, he's back asking me for the key. Like, what are you doing? Just letting him to the back to go use the restroom. Because it's not they're going to leave, right? High school. As a kid, I was going to go home. I was going to ask you what grade. High school. The kids would be like, I was going to go home then. Let me use the bathroom. And I was like, all right, I'm not mad at you. I know it sounds crazy. The kids won't use the bathroom in the building, but it's true. And just so happens he would get the security. It's like, well, I don't want him to leave. So I just started letting him go.
So can I ask you a question? Like, how do you teach that level of care? What does that look like? So as a school leader, right? Like, what does that look like for your staff where that just comes naturally to you because that's rooted in you? But those people who don't think like that, whether it's they can't, was never taught, maybe, or, or just won't because they just don't care enough.
Don't understand. They just don't know because they don't understand.
How is that teachable? Because the same thing that we say for our students, if it's a skills deficit, if they don't know how to behave, we teach them. If they don't know how to read, we teach them. So how do we teach teachers to care enough to do the things?
I firmly believe. So I'm a P20 girl. And so when I say I'm a P20 girly, I care pre-K all the way to graduate level education. So you hear K-16, but I'm like early education all the way through 20. So I think the learning and the work that I do involves this entire spectrum of education. So it starts all the way before they're coming into the school systems, pre-K, preschool, and it starts also in the collegiate spaces, as well as the master's level programs where our educators are getting their degrees. So I say that to say I have taught at the master's level. I've taught social work and multicultural education, and it belongs there. I will tell you, it belongs in teacher prep and master's level programs. You have to have these conversations and be able to understand and dive into the text. They've already done their pre-prac and practicum work. And so we hope that the design of the school, usually you have to do urban or suburban or urban and rural. You have to do a mix of practicum. So hopefully they've seen the spaces and they've been designed enough so they could take away from that and say, ooh, I still want to be a teacher. So what do I need to know now when I'm going into the space? So that's first. And then I'm also a social worker by training. And so that also is a part of the work. So human development was literally what we did. That's what we did first, social work 101. Like you take human behavior. And so that's also, I don't want to say it's missing from teacher prep and education spaces, but we do need to bring that back more wholly into those spaces. So we are talking about what child and adolescent development will look like. And so it's not unfamiliar when you're getting the behaviors. I always tell my middle school folks that they're experts in education because it couldn't be me. That's that shift. That middle school. That shout out.
I don't know about the 7th grade.
Yo, listen. Shout out to every single person that has ever stepped in and been in a middle school. You are the MVPs of education. Just that developmentally is the hardest thing to do.
It's so hard for me. So yeah, I
You're
can't
right.
imagine
I
being
would
a
never want to
teacher
be with me.
managing
Yes.
multiple classrooms of kids. Like absolutely not.
Middle school puberty personalities
Like,
is not a
The
thing.
worst.
They think they grown, but they not really grown. Like that's so.
Their bodies are changing.
Everything.
Their minds are going even faster than they were. Not faster, but just as fast as they were when they were just toddlers and development. Like,
And then now with social media, and then like there was peer pressure, and it's just like it's insane.
Peer pressure was real when I was in middle school. It's crazy.
I mean, I
now.
can't with social
I couldn't
media.
imagine.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say I also led with one identity. And so I understand my why. So my why is lighting, caring, passing the torch. It was given to me. It was given to them. Whoever they got it from, it was given to me. So it's my job to carry and pass that forward. So I believe that wholeheartedly in everything that I do. So it's my job to make sure that my student or any student that I come across is prepared for whatever's next in their life in a way that shows that I give a damn. I care. And so for my staff, that was the work that I led with every single time. And so one identity. Why are we here? Who do we serve? And we understand who we are coming into the building every single day.
You set the tone.
You set the tone.
The other thing I wanted to say
Culture.
too is your culture.
The set of behaviors. What does that look like?
So
And it wasn't great. Sorry to cut you off. It was not perfect 100% of the time. We had bad days.
And it's not gonna
never
ever
be.
be.
Never.
Yeah.
But we could sit down and talk about it and be like, what's going on? Like, why
What
is
went
it
wrong
why
today?
is
at least the
What-
expectation.
why in your class is it not working? And we had enough trust to be like, no, you need
Let's
to
look at it together.
look at it together
Yeah.
so we can figure out what's happening in your classroom, that this particular structure is not working, which is causing havoc in other classrooms because we set this expectation. Now the kids don't want to do it over here because you don't make them do it. So like what's happening in high school is a Saturday night to have that conversation. So so one identity, and then the trust had to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we move on, because I know it's 7:00, I wanted to make sure anybody watching on any of the TikToks or anywhere, did anybody have any questions or comments? We may have missed some stuff along the way, so now would be an opportunity. We'll check back on some of the comments. I know Lisa was on. Hey, Lisa girl. Hey, any gladiators that are out there watching. But if anybody had any questions or y'all wanted to ask us anything, please drop it in, I guess, any of the chats.
Any of the chats
that you were watching on.
I know you on your Instagram.
No, I did LinkedIn today.
Okay, so I am on
YouTube.
I'm on my YouTube. Okay, but you can see YouTube.
Okay, I'm good. Just people liking and saying hey, no questions.
Okay.
Not
Not mad at
Over
it.
here. Yeah, this was good.
Love
I'm glad that you all are doing this, and
Thanks.
looking forward to seeing you guys live more for sure.
I was glad we were able to get together.
Yes. So we always end up with, or end off kind of with final thoughts, or tell us about an event or something that you have going on that you want to tell people about.
I feel like I always have stuff going on, but what I will say, since I'm on the TikTok streets, I try to do a Behavior Talk Tuesday every Tuesday. So I am going live usually around 11:30 a.m. So that's where you all can find me doing more of the Behavior Talk Tuesdays. So I appreciate y'all doing this and inviting me, because I said Behavior Talk Tuesday on a Friday. Come join. So thank you.
That's exciting. How about you, Coach?
On Thursday, May 14th, if you're in the Northeast Ohio area, Agnes And Agnes, is the Chief Capacity Officer of Aliyoboa Capacity Group. She is a former principal and school turnaround leader. We are having a workshop, a 2.5, 3-hour live in-person workshop. So unfortunately, no link or virtual link for that one, but it is live in person, kind of geared at this topic, how to design school culture with behavior science. So we are going to tag team of building, like, how do you build a school culture plan or playbook, but really with that behavior science, so you have the fundamentals to really understand why you're doing the things that you're doing in your
That's great.
school culture.
I love that.
Yes.
Okay.
What you got going on?
What do I have going on? So shout out to the folks that came to the Hidden Leadership Workshop. So we will be offering that again. I think I had said the 18th. It's actually the 28th. I'm going to get it together. The 28th of July. So I do the workshops once a month virtually. And then my booking link is open. I am starting to build out the fall.
Nice.
So anyone interested in learning more about student support infrastructure and systems to support student brilliance, support achievement, academic achievement, and to get our young people future ready now, I am your girl. And I focus on coaching with school leaders and student support teams, counselors in particular. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, lots of great things going on.
I do the virtuals. Yep. So you can buy an individual seat. So that was one of the strategies. Look at talking business. So we're out here. We're at a business conference. Business conference. And so a strategy that I developed in order to have more reach was to offer a virtual version of the workshop where you could buy your individual seat. So I cap it at 25 seats so the conversation can be lively. And then you can also hire me to bring me out to your school. And I can come do the workshop just for your team or your district. So there are multiple ways that I can do it. But if you want the content, come and see me. And I'll be presenting. I'll be presenting in July in Texas at the Spark EDU conference. And I will be presenting at the Connecticut School Counselor Association conference in May.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
You are running the place.
I know. We
Listen,
are.
I'm running the
I got a couple
place.
conferences too I'll be presenting at.
Yes.
But I really want to promote the event in May 1st. So if y'all want to hear about some of the other conferences I have, check out social medias. That's posted on everything. Check out my socials for those, but I will talk about those conferences at a later date.
That's super exciting. We got one more thing to say, and we did not grab our drinks before we got here because we have karaoke to go do. So listen, we didn't bring drinks today, but next time we will pull up with our drinks. But we do have one more thing to say. We have to wish our very own Coach Scho a happy birthday.
Thank you. I've been celebrating it. My birthday's tomorrow officially, but I've been celebrating it since last night. So we're having a great time.
That's right. So down in the A, celebrating her birthday.
On my Aries/April babies, happy birthday.
Shout out to you. Happy birthday, Coach. And we will post the date for our next live.
Yep.
And we look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Thanks for joining us. I'm
Thank
Sherann Alkins.
I'm Sarah Scho.
Sherann Francis.
And thank you guys for joining Behavior Talk Live. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ooh, gotta learn how to shut all things off. Bye, live. Thanks for having me.
That was awesome.
Oh, wait a minute.
Sherann, you're still
happy
live over
birthday.
here.
Lots of happy birthdays.
Oh, thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, happy birthdays. I love it. Thanks for lighting up the chat. Thank you so much for liking the live. Thanks for popping in. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Hi.
I'll make sure I say thank you to all the people that popped in.
Ooh, yes, definitely.
I made a little
Thank
dollar
you,
40 cents.
everyone. I do think we're still alive.
I am. I'm going to shut it off right now. I was just checking the chat because I didn't have my phone near me. All right.
Good
Perfect.
Ooh.
All right. We are live here. Bye, guys.
I think we should. Oh, wait. What's that live on?
This one is the,
Whatever you
Bye,
just
guys.
I think it ended. Oh, maybe.